tie match at the drop. Double gen pop to avoid the deadlock. They do go down. There is a haste status effect. They did be careful here. The hatch is going to spawn momentarily. Dead Hard could get them the distance to get it too.
Really smart play on the ace. Oh my god, getting shot through the window.
No longer have distortion, and they are going to teleport here. I think they get there in time. Yes!
Oh, the grab! Yes!
Oh, they blocked it!
That is disappointing. This is be a 4-man out because.
Yeah, but they will be able to block this. Yo, getting caught on that. Ace coming with the body block. Oh, they were here.
Hey, what is up, guys? It's Giltspire here, and welcome back to Champions of the Fog. And we are here today to watch Arctic Wolves versus Dawn, and I am joined by a very special guest, the Cenobite himself. Cenobite, thanks for joining us today.
You summoned me. I came.
Yeah, no, I really do appreciate it. It was very last moment. Reached out to the Cenobite via the Lament configuration, and sure enough, he did show up to join us here today. So should be a whole lot of fun. And Elliot, can I call you Elliot?
Oh no, don't do that.
All right, I understand. Cenobite it is. Well, either way, Cenobite, I imagine you are going to be quite excited today as we're going to be seeing some killers tear these survivors' souls apart.
I'll tear your soul apart.
No. You can't participate today. This is gonna be some other people trying their hand at killing. You'll get your time to shine soon enough, I'm sure. But today you and I are gonna be watching Dawn's Nurse up against Arctic Wolves Survivor Team, and it is going to be quite a show as we're gonna be getting a nurse mirror match on the gas heaven. So without further ado, we are loading in right now, and let's see what we see today. Right off the bat, I do see off on the corner there a Hex Totem. Actually, 2 to be exact. So we see both Ruin and Undyne, I would imagine here. Once again, we have not seen Devour Hope as of yet. So we'll have to see if that ever comes to fruition at some point this season. But Nurse immediately on top of these survivors here. And now it's time to see, can these survivors hold their own against Smexy's Nurse? And so far, Nancy has shown that they are not able to avoid her, and that will be the first down of the game. What are your thoughts here, Cenobite? All right, short, sweet, simple, not all too impressed by the Nancy's performance here. So we'll see this first hook, and these survivors are keenly aware of actually all 4 perks now. That is Thanatophobia, Ruin, Undyne, and Corrupt Intervention. Nurse trying to look around, identifying where these survivors are. Gonna be checking the main building, but with no sound coming from that generator, it looks like the Nurse will decide to look elsewhere. Great thing about the Nurse here, even though there are these car piles that separate their line of sight from so much of the map, she's just able to completely ignore them, where survivors instead have to go completely around. However, that is the second totem popping now. And so this Nurse is almost a 1 perk nurse with nothing but Thanatophobia at hand. We do see both the Nia as well as the Zarina, but I think Nurse is looking for the Nancy. Unable to find her though, will go for the Zarina instead and will get the initial hit. The question is, will she be able to escape?
You shall not escape me.
Like I said, Cenobite, like I said, you'll get your time to shine soon enough, but the Nurse will grab this arena. This will be the second hook of the game, and looks like the first gen for the survivors as well, so they are not going down without a fight. Well, with that being said, Nurse is going to go out on the prowl again. Looks like we're not going to be seeing a camping strat here, at least not initially. I will note that Thanatophobia not putting in a lot of work right now, as mainly one, maybe two survivors at most have been injured. So a little bit of slowdown here and there while the survivors are on hook, but other than that, Thanatophobia just not putting in the work. It's time like these where I kind of wonder, is Dying Light the better option in a comp scenario? As at this point, it would at least be a static 6% that you'd be able to grow over time. So, interesting thoughts to say the least, but we do see some scratch marks from the survivor here. But Nurse going back to the hook instead, and looks like they're going to be trying to go for the ace, but whiffing, not able to connect on the Zarina, not able to connect on the ace, but looks like now Nurse will be going for Zarina and going for the tunnel out. And that there will be down. Question is, though, will there be a decisive strike?
Oh no, don't do that.
Yeah, no, I feel ya. I imagine you have been hit by quite a few decisive strikes in your time. Thankfully, though, the Nurse will not be subjected to them today. And looks like Zarina will go back up on the hook, and she is close to going back to the campfire via the entity. But survivor here running around, that does appear to be the ace. And looks like Nurse is actually going to stick on by to the hook. Though, looking at this bar here, I do think it is all but paused. So it's very likely that there is a kinship in play as the third generator goes off, and these survivors now 1-to-1 on gens to hooks. The Nurse now has to make a decision, wait for kinship to end, or try and pressure these gens instead. And it looks like the Nurse will opt to drop the camp strat, and instead now going for... Oh, hold on. They got the hit on the Nia, but now they're going to be chasing out the ace. Beautiful hit there by Smexy. And now Ace is in no man's land. If the Nurse gets the down here, this is going to put these survivors in quite a troubling position. That firecracker, though, will blind the Nurse, unable to identify where the ace has gone. And Ace getting out of dodge. Unfortunately, though, Spider's still on the hook, not able to get anyone here as of yet, and Ace will go down. Only survivor healthy enough to go for the unhook now is the Nancy, but if her nowhere in sight, I'm afraid that the Zarina will be going back to the campfire soon. And sure enough, the entity will take her, and that is one survivor down, one on the ground. And at this point in time, the game has kind of started to tip into the favor of the Nurse. Before, I was kind of questioning whether or not these survivors would be able to get even one escape, and now it's looking like the Nurse definitely has gotten back a lot of pressure. However, with that gen pop, the Nurse has some idea where there are. Good call on Smexy too for dropping the camp plan against Ace, as he had Deliverance in hand. The question once again does remain, we haven't seen Decisive Strike, so does Ace have Decisive and Deliverance? And with that being said, Ace trying to get to his corner, Nurse on top of him. Will she take the chance and go for the pickup here? And the answer is yes. Will there be a Decisive Strike? The answer is no. So still no Decisive Strike seen here this game. Nurse taking a huge gamble, but it does pay off. and we are going to see another hook on the board. This is now at least a 1K6 hook. With the last generator popping off, though, these survivors are in a prime position for a 2-man out at the very least, 3-man out at the most, though I think these survivors will more likely than not play it safe, split on exit gates, and get at least a 2-man out here. If she commits to Nancy or Nia, they're able to get the unhook, able to get the 2-man out. I think this is pretty clear and cut, and with the Nancy here and the nurse missing that hit, yeah, it looks like it is going to be a 2-man out indeed, as Nancy's going to start zooming right to that exit gate. I imagine, whoa, hold up. Nancy's going down. I would have thought that she would have made a beeline straight to the exit gate that Nia was on, but Nia doesn't have it open yet. Nia goes down. That is going to be a 4K here unless Nancy has a unbreakable in hand. Deliverance is out of the game. We have yet to see the decisive strike, but it might not matter in the end. I'm shocked. Honestly, I thought that these survivors had enough time to get that exit gate open and in turn, you know, get a 1 if not 2-man out. I was thinking that it was going to be a guaranteed 2 out at that point. But unfortunately, these survivors just not able to turn it around. And that will be the 4K on 5 gens completed for the nurse. So not a bad spot for these survivors to be in. They definitely set up their killer for potential success. The biggest thing is if they're going in with an end game plan, or we're going to, it just ain't gonna work now. And so at the end of the day, it's gonna come down to them just with heavy gen regression and heavy gen slowdown. So I'm expecting to see maybe a Ruin, maybe an Undying, maybe a Scourge Hook pop. You name it. If it's gen regression or gen slowdown related, I imagine we see nothing but. But that was unexpected. That was rather unexpected, to say the least. And with that being said, and Kinship finally ending, that there will be the 4K for the nurse. All right. Well, with that being said, that there will be the end of trial number 1, and we are going to flip sides now for trial number 2. This time, Arctic Wolves will be killing. And if we take a look at these builds here, we're seeing a lot of for the people. We're seeing there was the leader, adrenaline, bounce landing, and decisive strike, which we never did see. And deliverance looks like it was the unbreakable play instead, but just did not get it to activate with the nurse taking the gamble and it paying off. But with that being said, we are going to be getting this next lobby set up here in just a moment. But before we do want to remind everyone about Champions for a Cause. We are partnered with Stream for a Cause, a nonprofit organization based here in the United States. They support a whole lot of causes. For April, they are supporting Going Green initiatives. So if you are a fan of the environment, which I imagine a lot of you are, you know, go outside, touch grass, definitely make sure to donate to Champions for a Cause, as all your donations will go towards that initiative and more, including refugees in Ukraine. And I believe next month is LGBTQA month as well. But with that being said, we are going to take a little bit of a break. And Cenobite, any last words?
Now you must come with me.
All right. Looks like Cenobite and I are going to be having a little bit of a chat. But with that being said, guys, we'll be back shortly. Bye-bye. All right, and we are back. This time with Arctic Wolves killing as the nurse against Dawn's survivor team. And while I was on break, I went to grab some food and I randomly found this box and
Box. You opened it.
I did. How'd you know that, Cenobite? It looked pretty strange, kind of came out of nowhere. I had no idea where it came from. But yeah, with that being said, we are back and we are going to be jumping right on in once again on the Gas 7. And this here is for set number 1. And at the end of the day, Arctic Wolves, what they're looking for here is a 4K before 5 gens. If they are able to do so, that there will secure them the set point. So let's wait and see. Spider going to be piloting the nurse here today and already on the prowl, sees 2 survivors right away. And looks like they're trying to figure out whether or not they're going to have to cut them off or force them to double back. And looks like they actually do go further into the car pile. Unfortunate here, though. Looks like Claudette trying to hide it out, not able to make it happen, though. And Nurse will be on the prowl, trying to get the hit, though, but unable to do so as they do end up whiffing. Looks like Nurse, though, will continue the pressure, and I do want to point out here that there was a Hex Totem that just popped off, more likely than not Ruin, as we do not see a second Hex Totem. And with that being said, Claude will end up taking a hit here. First hit of the game, Corrupt Invention halfway over, and these survivors once again aware of Thanatophobia. Seen a lot of Thana use on Nurse recently, definitely intrigues me. I think much like before though, we're gonna see that it's not gonna get as much value as the Nurse would like, as 5 gens did get popped off before, but with Claudette going down, that there will be the first hook of the match. And they're gonna be trying to hook them over here by the shack. Surprised we haven't seen any basement plays yet, as we've actually seen a lot of downs around here. But Nurse going off, trying to identify where these survivors are. 2 gens within line of sight, completely dead to the world. Nurse gonna be checking main building now, going back and checking the hook as well. First gen popping off, and these survivors are off to the races. Neat here, though, trying not to get cut off by the Nurse. Will take a hit, though. Beautiful blink there by Spider, as that was a 1 blink hit, putting them in a fantastic position. As Corrupt Invention ends, Nurse trying to identify where the Nia went. Will over blink at the rock, but kind of boxing out this Nia. Nia does not have a lot of places to go, so it's going to come down to whether or not they're able to find the right path and play that mind game of back and forth play. And we saw it right there where Nia's looking behind her, watching out for the Nurse's blink and knowing, okay, that's going to be short. We're going to hold W. It's kind of what I was talking about yesterday when we saw Nurse play as well, where you kind of need to just, you know, play a little game of ping pong, and sometimes you just hold W for the win. And so that is exactly what Nia's doing here. Not really changing up their plays. Let's see if the Nurse plays around that. Unfortunately, though, not able to get the hit there on the blind blink. And Nia is just juking this Nurse for days, but all things must come to an end. So pretty good play here by the Nurse. Unfortunately, I'm foreseeing 2, if not 3 gens popping off in just a few moments with no real gen regression to speak of, and the only gen slowdown, that being Thanatophobia. The Nurse is definitely in a difficult position as we see that gen there, almost 3/4 of the way completed. Another gen here as well, just cranking away as we see the Nia unhooked back there in the corner. And right now things are just not looking good for this Nurse as she gets blinded and light burned by the Meg's firecrackers. Little known fact that you can set that up perfectly as we saw there. able to just extend this chase a little bit more. And Meg trying to juke things out, just barely misses there as the nurse does whiff. And Nurse coming back to this corner again where these gens have already been completed. These survivors have the nurse exactly where they want her, just out here in frickin' no man's land. And that is another 2 gens completed back to back. Only 2 more gens left to go. If this nurse is not able to secure the 4K here within the next 2 generators, next generator, then that there will be the end of the match for the nurse. And with that last generator popping off, at most here, these survivors are going to tie up the game. Or sorry, at most here, the nurse is gonna tie up the game with what we see here, a little bit of Noed. Unfortunately though, with the deliverance popping off on the Meg, I just don't see a 4K happening. It is just very unlikely at this point in time. Maybe see a 1 or 2K to sure up your overall match points. So that way you might be able to still claim 1 point at the very end. But if this exit gate about to open up, Nurse is at a huge, huge disadvantage. Exit gate opens up on the side. I think it was David earlier over by Shaq. Claudette just out of reach. Not even able to take a swing, and that there will be a 4-man out for these survivors.
Oh, please. No tears. They are a waste of good suffering.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Cenobite. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. And unfortunately here for the nurse, just not able to secure the kill. And that there will be a 4-man out, and the first set will go to Dawn, 19-34. So if that being said, we are going to stick with Arctic Wolves killing, though this time we are gonna find ourselves on the Suffocation Pit with Arctic Wolves bringing the King of Speed himself, the Blight. And with that being said, we are once again going to take a little bit of a break. But with that being said, I do want to remind everyone here that we're gonna run a few ads. And, you know, not everyone is a fan of them. And if you aren't, of course, you can always subscribe. But keep in mind that all the ads that you watch, all the subscriptions that you buy, all the bits that you tip, all go to Champs and Fog. We don't have a sponsor right now, so you guys, you the viewers, are our sponsors. So we really do appreciate you bearing with us, and with that being said, we'll be back shortly. All right, and we are back. Once again, this is going to be Arctic Wolves Killing against Dawn's Survivor team, this time though on the Suffocation Pit. And for those of you who do not know how the set system works, set 1 done and dusted. Dawn taking the point there, but now the set points go back to 0, and now it's Arctic Wolves' time to shine, where they can claim their set point and make up the distance that they lost for the match point as well. I know that I am wicked excited, and I imagine that the Cenobite is too. And with that being said, we are going to be seeing some Blight. And do you have some insight here, Cenobite, on what we're going to expect from Blight?
I have such sights to show you.
All right, well, I am excited, happy that you are as well. And if that being said, the King of Speed himself is bouncing around looking for these survivors back here on the Suffocation Pit. So far, no sign of them. Looking around their corrupt zone, but looks like either these survivors spawned elsewhere or are fully immersed. I will say there's a crow that came back there. Normally they come back in 20 seconds or so. So it would suggest there might be a survivor hiding out in some way, shape, or form. But no sign of them here for the Blight, and that is a bit terrifying to say the least. And as we kind of look around, we do see 2 Hex totems lit there in the distance. So once again, more likely not a Ruin and or Undying, as once again, we have not seen a Devour Hope. I am looking forward to the day in which we do. And Blight still. Oh, hold up 1 second. One of those few times where the Undying Aura reading comes into play. And we are off to the races here for our first chase of the game. Claudette trying to bait out the Blight, will successfully get the stun on him, and Blight desperately needs to break this pallet as it is so strong with that vault into the window. With that being said, we do see the compound doing its job and does get the aura reading on the Claudette for the first initial hit, but we do hear Undying popping off there, and that leaves us with 1 more Hex perk out in the wild. Claudette doing an amazing job dodging the Blight there. Will they get to the window vault though? They will not. And before the first 2 minutes are up, that there will be our first down. All right, well, with that being said, first hook here for Arctic Wolves. And looks like with Ruin still up, these survivors have not been able to complete a generator just yet. Blight trying to identify what gens these survivors are working on, and does find 1 survivor here at the jungle gym, but unable to secure the hit. Does get the pouch red though, avoiding the stun, and first gen popped off there by the survivors. We are now 1-to-1 on hooks to gens, and really, I think the Blight is actually in a really good position. If you kind of take a look at what we got here, we have a 3-gen back here with the hook in it, so that really does mean that the Blight can theoretically box these survivors out and ensure that they're A, unable to get the unhook, but B, unable to get this 3-gen. Blight coming right back over, sees the survivor there through the boards, and I do believe that we will see Smexy progress to the second stage as Meg tries to come on through with that vault. Oh, there's Nia too, but the grab! Right in time. Will Blight get it on the Meg? He will, but unfortunately, I do not think the entity has come yet. But now you got a fresh hook, a survivor on the ground. Oh, and I don't think Claudette left. Claudette is still back here. I wonder if this might be bait for a potential unbreakable play. That's the only thing that I can think of right now. Otherwise, there's no reason for the Claudette to leave here. And we do see, looks like the Meg is trying to crawl away. Light once again going for the Claudette. I think that's a for the people. That's a for the people from the Nancy. Everyone is injured. Thanatophobia getting full value right now. And Ruin too, there's no one on gens. Any progress they had is now all but gone. This is some crazy pressure here from Arctic Wolves. Out of nowhere, Claudette trying desperately to get the unhook, but will get downed instead. And this game, I don't know, like, it's already too early to tell, but this game, it seems all but over for these survivors already. Cenobite, what are your thoughts here? This is, as you said, quite a unique sight to say the least, and I don't know. What are your thoughts on the survivors missing the unhook, getting grabbed there?
Oh no, don't do that.
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously us killers, we absolutely love those moments. That is what gets our blood pumping. But for these survivors, it is the nightmare incarnate, and I am not talking about the man himself, Freddy Krueger. And at this point in time, with two survivors hooked up in the 3-gen, both of them already on second stage, I mean, all the Blight needs to do now is just box out these survivors and wait, what, 30 seconds for both of them to die? Ruin might be gone, but Thanatophobia is right now at 15% gen slowdown. Nancy here trying to sneak on by, but unable to do so. Maybe trying to bait out to get a unhook, but unable to do so. Sprint bursting away back into the jungle gym. One of these survivors about to die in all but 5 seconds, and the other one less than 15. What? I think Blight is probably having the same reaction that I am of, excuse me? Where did you come from? Like, we saw the Nancy sprint burst back in the jungle gym. She must have pulled a freaking fast one though. And, ooh, speaking of fast ones, Nancy once again trying to pull a fast one over on the Blight. Blight not having it though, will get the down. And that will be another hook here, and I want to say this is everyone hooked at least once as of this moment. One survivor on death hook. Blight looking around to see what gens are left, but there ain't a lot. I mean, there's the 3-gen. If these survivors are able to break it in some way, shape, or form, that would be the dream. But otherwise, this 3-gen is just going to put them in such a weak position. Blight being very careful here to check every single corner, make sure no one is sitting on their gens. But so far, no sign of it. Looks like Nia will get healed up. And with how careful these survivors are being, it really does make it question if there's a potential that BT has already been taken out of the game in some way, shape, or form, as Meg will take a hit. We do see additional scratch marks going for the unhook. Blight sees it too, will drop chase, and will try and go for the interrupt, but unfortunately not fast enough. And looks like they're now going to be in chase. Will they go for the Nancy, or will they go for someone else? Nancy will eat the BT hit, and Blight will actually continue chase. Actually, oh, looks like Blight getting a bit distracted here. Opting to instead go for the survivor on the gen, pressuring them off instead. Looks to be the Nia, but unfortunately can't slide all too well on the wood pile. Getting a bit turned around here as we see the Nia there with the compound 21, but Blight hot on her heels with no pallet in sight. Nia will take a hit here. Compound 21 once again coming in clutch. Lithe though getting this Nia a lot of good distance. Blight trying to swing out, but Nia's now in a tile without a pallet, and it just comes down to the eventual death from the Blight, and there will be the down. And another hook here for Blight. We're looking at the very least, a 1K 7 hook. I forget if Nia's on death hook. I think she is. And so that there will be 2 survivors out of the game. And these survivors, I just imagine they are at a absolute loss. And I imagine if you were here, Cenobite, you would be talking about how you're tearing their soul apart. But alas, Blight here doing what the Blight does, rushing around, trying to pressure these survivors, ensuring that they get as few generators as possible to set their team up for success. If the Blight is able to keep up the pressure he currently has and keep him at 2 generators completed, I don't see a way for Dawn's killer to really do much, because you just commit to gens, you ignore every chase, and that would be the game. So if these survivors aren't able to get another gen to provide some pressure, we are going to see a pretty significant blowout here by Arctic Wolf's survivor team. But Blight, once again, unable to identify where these survivors are, trying to see them. Haven't checked those back gens in a hot minute. I'm getting a little bit concerned, but I do see crows go off here at this gen. We do see Nancy on the aura reading, though, and Blight will be in another chase, very likely the last one of the game. Nancy, though, does have some resources here available to her. Will mind game that pallet, though, and a 99 sprint burst will get her some distance to the next tile. That was quite impressive indeed. Yeah, I know. You're probably not all too thrilled about it, Cenobite, but Nancy here putting on a good show and giving the Meg some time to complete at least one other gen. Blight, though, trying to clean up this chase and finish it off now with a bit of a hug tech. Unfortunately, not able to make it happen, and there's another generator, putting these survivors in a much stronger position going into the next trial. With this pallet still up as well, Blight is in a bit of a pickle. Unfortunately, Nancy going back to the pallet, trying to pull off some mind games here. Blight getting a little bit tripped up, but Nancy will end up going down after all. The question is now, does Blight slug out for the 4K? Nancy, I don't believe, is on death hook yet. Good thing for the Blight, for if she was, I don't think he's close enough to Shack for the hatch escape. So now it comes down to, will Nancy let go on hook and potentially allow for Meg to escape via the hatch? I mean, if they are able to do that, that could potentially turn the game around, as I'm now just realizing Meg is fresh. She has not been hooked once. Unfortunately, though, the survivors, knowing full well what the Blight was going to do, went for the unhook. And now these survivors, once again, have a chance to potentially get this last generator completed. I do want to note that we have not seen Decisive Strike in play as of yet. So Blight going for the tunnel out on the Nancy, playing a little bit of a gamble, but instead dropping chase and going for the Nia here, who was on this generator. Meg, though, seemingly dodging the Blight, but unable to hide forever, will take a hit. And with the Natophobia now slowing down these generators by 10%, it's going to take a while for these gens to be completed. Meg, though, however, going to Shack, going to go for the locker play. Blight did not block off the either exit, whether it be the pallet or window. And so, unfortunately, Meg extended his chase further. Meg body blocking the Blight to make sure he can't lethal rush. Blight slided off of every piece of obstacle he possibly could. And now just extending that chase ever so slightly longer, where now Nancy has the ability to potentially do the last generator that these survivors need to keep themselves in the game. Meg will go down, and with that down being so close to Shack, I would imagine that this is going to be the end of it unless Meg has deliverance in hand. But if Nancy can, by some means, get this last generator completed, that's kind of what I always look at. 4 generators for survivors is kind of ideal. If you can get 4 generators, that gives your killer enough of a chance to bring it back. And there it is. There's the 4th gen. And so Dawn's killer, before, probably sweating bullets, sitting here going, I might not be able to kill them fast enough, now has a chance. You know, at the end of the day, as long as they're able to get a down quickly within ideally 80 seconds, then they should be able to have some chance of, you know, getting a 4K before 4 gens are completed. So this really does turn things around. I really thought Arctic Wolves had it in the bag with 2 gens completed, 3 gens completed. Now we're seeing at 4 gens completed, and this Blight taking things very slow. I'm afraid, though, we're about to see a deliverance, though. We have not seen it yet, and if that is the case... Oh, it is not. So no deliverance in play. The question is, will Nancy make her way over to Shack for the hatch or stick by a exit gate? Blight trying to just box out this area, trying to keep line of sight, make sure Nancy doesn't sneak on by like last time. And so far, nothing. Blight actually going out checking the gen here. This might be a bit of a mistake. This has very little progress. No reason to be here, Blight. Oh, I stand corrected. There's the Nancy. There's the sprint burst. Blight catching up quick, though. And yeah, there is no escape here. You are too far out. At the end of the day, it's just going to come down to this last chase. As long as Blight doesn't really make a blunder here, that will be that. And Blight not heeding the mistakes of old here. Will end up not breaking the pallet, but Nancy will mess up and will go down. And that there will be the 4K for Arctic Wolves with 1 gen remaining. What this means for Dawn's Killer, they need 4K at, what, 4 gens to tie it? 4K at 3 gens to win? I mean, I think it's possible. I think it's possible. But with that being said, that there will be the end of trial number 3. And we, once again, will be taking a quick break here. But before we go, Cenobite, I imagine you got some clips from that match. Some very exciting plays, to say the least. What are your thoughts there?
I have such sights to show you.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing those clips. Some really awesome Blight play. And we'll be adding those to the intro eventually. So definitely keeping an eye out for that on, you know, the next season's intro when we add some stuff to that later down the line. But as a reminder, guys, as always, you are our sponsors here today. So all the ads that you watch, all the bits that you tip, all the subs that you buy do go towards Champs of the Fog, whether it be towards our producers, our intros, our assets, the prize pools, and so much more. So definitely make sure to stick on by through these ads. If you don't like watching ads, instead, you know, can always subscribe to. With that being said, we'll be back shortly. All right, and we are back. This has proven to be quite a close match, to say the least. It is currently 43-51 Arctic Wolves versus Dawn. And we now have Dawn killing against Arctic Wolves Survivor Team on the Suffocation Pit. And we are going to be seeing a Blight mirror. So we'll be seeing Dawn's Blight once again killing here today. And as we talked about earlier, it comes down to how quickly the Blight can kill these survivors. A 4K at 4 gens would leave for a tied set, but the match point and the set point going to Dawn. If the survivors, however, can get 5 generators completed, they will take the set, but probably not the match point. If they can get some escapes, though, then all things are up for grabs, as we will see Smexy here killing today. Corrupt Intervention right off the bat, 'tis to be expected. And Blight already zooming about and doing some home remodeling. So, Cenobite, I don't know about you, but I am definitely rooting here for these survivors. I imagine you the killer. What are your thoughts here?
I'll tear your soul apart.
Okay, I get it. You and I rooting for 2 different sides. No reason to be hostile, though. Unfortunately, though, for these survivors, I get a sense that was the Deliverance player, as we saw Ace coming in for the body block, and a very quick down here for Smexy's Blight, as we are less than a minute into Corrupt Intervention for this first hook. And that means that these survivors are not in the position they want to be, especially as Thanatophobia will be slowing them down by 5%. However, we do see a very quick unhook there by Nia, but maybe not the best of ideas, as Adam here will end up getting body blocked by the Blight at the pallet. BT should be out, and Adam will go down. The question is there a decisive strike?
Oh, please. No tears. They are a waste of good suffering.
Unfortunately, you're right. There was no decisive strike, and I imagine these survivors are not all too thrilled with the state of the game as it is. Smexy's Blight not here to play around. They woke up and chose violence, to say the least. And with this first gen, maybe the most progressed at 75%, these survivors are in a world of hurt, as Ace narrowly dodged the Blight, but can't do so a second time. Oh, you're right. It's Semxy, not Smexy. Apologies about that. Dyslexia will get ya. I'll tell you what. Either way, Semxy once again getting another down, and that there will be the 3rd hook of the game. And these survivors have not been able to complete a single generator. That one there still regressing. Not sure if that was from a Pop Goes the Weasel or from a possible Scourge Hook Pain Residence. We will see the unhook, and I will note that Spider is still on the ground as we speak. Semxy here slugging out and just going for the kill. And looks like they're going to be on Adam again. And I want to say this will be death hook for Adam if Semxy is able to get the down. And with that mind game there, it looks to be very possible. Semxy, though, losing Adam as he doubles back to the window once again. Finally able to drop that pallet, gaining a little bit of distance. The question is, will it be enough as Adam once again goes down to the bottom here? Blight will fatigue out, but unfortunately, Adam will not get to the pallet in time, and that will be the first death of the game at 5 generators left. I was really hopeful here for survivors to be able to pull out like 3 gens back to back to back to back. But unfortunately, the Blight just was too oppressive here. Not even able to get a single generator done. And this one at 75% remaining. It is just heartbreaking to say the least. You know, I might be mainly a killer, but I play some survivor too. And as a survivor, I can say that was a beautiful dead hard there. As we do hear the first gen popping off, these survivors need 3 more generators to tie it up, 4 more to win the set. And right now with Ace juicing this Blight, he is trying to give them all the time he can possibly give. And unfortunately though, I think Ace is out of position and will end up going down. That will be another hook here for Semsi. And if this is a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, then they will know exactly the most progressed gen. And sure enough, as we see that pop back there in that corner, that is 15% regressed. Unless these survivors are able to crank it out, we'll also be seeing a pop goes the weasel. What's even more disheartening and heartbreaking here for these survivors is just the fact that that generator is the most progressed, but all but barely progressed all the while. And so that really does show how much of a dire position these survivors are in, as the Blight once again will hit the Zarina and will be going for a hug tech, it looks like, and will get the down. Looks like we're going to be going back to another Scourge Hook Pain Resonance. Once again, showing the Blight where the most progressed gen is. But based on what we've seen, things are not looking good here for the survivors, as they need another 4 gens completed. This one has some decent progress, but as they did touch the gen after Pain Resonance was activated, that will allow the Blight to regress it by another 25% for a total of 40% off the generator. And now Semsi going after the Ace here. Thanatophobia also putting in a whole lot of work. 10% gen slowdown as we speak. Another hug tech incoming. Ace trying to dodge. Semsi not able to see the line for the down. And once again, going for a long mind game. Does get it. Ace panic dead harding. Unfortunately, it is not enough, as Ace will end up going down, and this will be the 7th hook of the game. Yeah, going back to Scourge Hook once again to be able to see what the most progressed gen is, and going for that 2-for-1 combo of Scourge Hook, Pain Resonance, and Pop Goes the Weasel. 2 survivors out with 4 generators left. Unless these survivors are somehow able to bring out the play of the century, I just don't see the line for them to claim victory. Light, though, trying to scope out where these survivors are, ends up finding, I believe, the Zarina. The blood pools do confirm that, and this will be another down here for the Blight, doing a bit of helicopter mind games, but getting a little bit mind gamed himself as Zarina dodges the hit. I guess Semsi here going for some 360s and might need to practice just a little bit more. At most here, we could see a 1-man out via a hatch, but otherwise, it just ain't looking like much will happen, as we will see a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance pop off once again, the most progressed gen right behind the Blight and right by that hook. The best option here for these survivors really is to have Spider let go and allow for the 1-man out. The problem is that will not be enough to secure the set and or the match point. And much like what we saw before, the last Blight match, the Blight kind of going back to that shack, checking for the hatch escape. But these survivors being privy to that knowledge will end up going for the unhook. I mean, we saw how much value the survivors could potentially get by doing this. We saw how one chase resulted in 2 gens being completed, but these survivors need 3, and Pain, Residence, and Pop have done such a good job of slowing down the game. And so with that down on the Zarina, Blight is going to slug out momentarily. I imagine maybe trying to avoid a decisive strike, and will be on the prowl for the Nia, and there she is. Unless there is an Unbreakable, I don't know if this Survivor team's gonna be able to do much of anything. However, fantastic Firecracker play will end up blinding the Blight, making it so that he does end up running into a hook. Unfortunately, he was not injured by his own confusion. However, Nia almost escaping the ire of the Blight. Blight trying to avoid the pallet stun there. Will end up breaking the pallet, cutting that loop short, and with Spiders still on the ground, either Unbreakable was already used or Unbreakable is out of the game one way or another. This looks to be the last chase of the game. There's the vault. Blight boxing out Nia, and there's the down for the W. Dawn will walk away victorious, both in the set number 1, set number 2, and last but not least, the match point for the 3-0 sweep. Side note, has anyone ever seen that tree stump spawn there on Suffocation Pit? Because I cannot say with any degree of certainty that I've ever seen that before. Also, secondary note, I just realized, I think we did see Deliverance, so I don't think we'll see Deliverance again. 60 seconds have definitely been up. I stand corrected. We did not see Deliverance earlier. we did not see Deliverance. Blight surprisingly not going for the hatch, instead zooming over to these exit gates. Wow, that Unbreakable could potentially mean a 1-person out at hatch, and Nia trying to sneak on by. Unfortunately, once again, not able to avoid the ire of the Blight, and that there will be the down. And at this point, Blight just waits out the broken status effect. Well, Cenobite, it does appear that you got your wish. You got to see the 4K from the Blight here, where I was rooting for the survivors. And just some really amazing, amazing plays here by Semsi, as they were just able to close it out really cleanly. Oh, sorry, one more chase. Things aren't over yet, as looks like the Nia was the Unbreakable user. No decisive strike here, as they wait to the last moment and will get one more chase in, as the Blight does miss their rush. But will they be able to get the Nia down? No, they won't, but I just don't think we see the Nia get into the hatch in time. It's still open, still a possibility. Nia getting a bit of a dicey dodge there, but Blight missing the grab too. Blight making some amazing plays here, then all of a sudden it all falling to pieces as Nia is just showing what she can do in chase. And that will officially be the final chase. Oh. And a little bit of a 360 from the Blight. You know, if you can't get a 360 hit, you might as well do a 360 hook, right? That's how that works. That's how that works. When you think it's over, it's never over. Until it's finally over. And with that being said, GG, well played to both teams, and congratulations, Dawn, for the victory. And on that note, guys, that there will be the end of today's not today's matches, the end of this match. We have more matches. We have a match at 2, we have a match at 4, we have a match at 6. With that being said, though, guys, that there will be the end of this match. And as a reminder, we are partnered with Stream for a Cause. They are a nonprofit organization based here in the United States. This month is the Going Green Initiative, so definitely make sure to donate, if possible, to Champions for a Cause. Link will be in chat. But also, I want to thank the Cenobite. Thank you for joining us today.
I must be going now.
Okay, I understand, you know, time is money where you live, and I'm sure you have plenty of suffering to get. And we hope to see you again, maybe in the future here, Cenobite. But with that being said, guys, we'll see ya in just 50 minutes for the next match. I believe it is going to be between, hold that 1 second. It is going to be between Ruby Wolves and Epsilon, so definitely make sure to stick on by for that. But on that note, guys, bye-bye!